June. And Trump is, to say things are going bad is the understatement of a lifetime. Enjoy.
To track with all of more on that, CNN's Harry Anton is continuing to track with all of this news, the shifting view of the American people as this immigration crackdown continues. How is the president doing on immigration at this point?
In a word, Kate, oof. What are we talking about here? Take a look at this. Trump's net approval rating on immigration. Got 5 numbers for you across the screen here. A lot of focus on Gallup at minus 27. That's horrible. Quinnipiac University minus 16. That's awful. Marist is bad at minus 9. Ipsos is minus 8. Fox at minus 7. Bad. So going from your left side, bad, to just downright terrible on the right side of your screen, the American people have turned against President Donald Trump on what was his best issue, one in which he had a positive net approval rating for most of his term, and arguably the issue that got him, of course, the GOP nomination all the way back in 2016. And one of the issues, of course, he used last year to quite a successful degree.
Absolutely.
I just want to point out, like, truly, right? Because, and I'm not going to force you to listen to it, but in that rambling Lara Trump fluff interview, one of the things he kept talking about was immigration, basically about just racially profiling people and removing them from the country. Nobody wants to hear this anymore. Trump, and remember, if Trump truly cared about immigration, what he would have done is encourage them to pass meaningful immigration reform, which I did not approve of. I'm glad Trump is a selfish grifter and didn't pass that immigration bill, because there was no meaningful pathways to citizenship. And I think if you can do math, which I know, MAGA, you're out on this, so you can just believe me or not, but it would have devastated our economy. Like, if there's no pathway to citizenship for people that are contributing to our economy in the ways all sorts of people on different types of visas are, then there's no value in my mind, period. Because we are in gross population decline. This is math terms now. And if we don't supplement our workforce, I'm not saying force women to have babies. And let's just say, I know you're trying to get the children back into the mines, but let's say even gestation period 9 months. I mean, can a 3-year-old be effective in a mine or in a meat processing plant? Probably not. So you're probably going to have to wait at least until they're 12. We don't have that kind of time. We're in gross population decline now. We need able-bodied workers, i.e. immigrants. I know your weird racism and bigotry and insecurity deep inside, where all you guys keep talking about meritocracies and your love of capitalism, but whenever it comes time to compete with brown people, you get really scared and cower in fear. If we don't get able-bodied people to immediately supplement our workforce, bye-bye number 1 gross domestic product. Period. Like that, those are the facts.
Is there signs that this is affecting his overall approval?
Okay, so you see this here, and then the question is...
I just got to say this because it's funny. So I need to read the chat more. I miss you guys. Thank you for liking my koala hat, Jared, but my 3-year-old loves to dig. Thank you, Queen Bree. Like, exactly. Those 3-year-olds have tiny hands. They're going to fit in those mines. They're going to be fine. They can crawl around. They don't even barely need to stand up. We'll just get them little knee pads and gloves. We'll get the 3-year-olds into the, what is Trump calling it? Clean coal mines? Listen, if I'm making jokes, I'm laughing so I don't cry. The cheapest, oh my God, thank you. The cheapest, most effective type of energy is wind and solar. Trump is moving away from the cheapest energy. The big, beautiful bill ensures that when we stop diversifying our energy types, depending on where in the country you are, you will be paying more for whatever type of energy. Because Trump has been bribed by, I guess, like 1800s coal magnates from beyond the grave.
Does this actually matter to folks? Why don't we zone in on Hispanic voters, right? Because obviously a lot of the immigrants who have been affected by this have been Hispanic voters in terms of the immigration crackdown. Take a look here. Trump's net approval rating amongst Hispanics. Remember, Trump put in a historic performance last fall among Hispanic voters, did better than any Republican nominee dating all the way back since we have data in 1972. His net approval rating among Hispanics in February was pretty gosh darn good for a Republican at -2 points. Look at how far it's fallen now in June, according to CBS News YouGov, at -26 points. And I should note, CBS News YouGov is not alone on this. This is what we see in the averages as well. Donald Trump was doing historically well for a Republican amongst Hispanics in terms.
Could start playing the videos of Hispanics being like, you promised not to deport the Venezuelans, but I will spare us because I've already played them all several times. But I do have the urge to find all those videos that I have saved in different presentations and be like, no, but think about this. Let this be a lesson. And I am Hispanic, so I feel like I could say this to my own relatives. You know who I'm talking to right now, because we had these conversations over text. Well, you assured me the best thing for you, who is a citizen through birthright, was to vote for Donald Trump. As you are all gathered up in different sting operations and disappeared, just remember, I tried. I gave it my best shot, but your guys' brains weren't you guys were sure that you were pretty white. You know, he wasn't talking about you. He means the other ones. Not the Cubans, not the Venezuelans. Oh, not the white-looking Mexicans, right? Like, oh, it turns out it's all of you. It's the weirdest thing. So as my own relatives have voted to deport themselves, I just want to say, I did tell you also. I did. And my relatives are the most delusional because we are very indigenous looking. Like, I get my height and athleticism like from the German it'd be and from the African American. Like, my Mexican relatives are purely like 5 foot tall indigenous Mexicans who are like, oh, he's not talking about us. He is absolutely talking about you guys. So fare thee well in the ice raids in Arizona. Seriously. But think about this. -2 in February, -26. That's Hispanics being like, what the is going on? And without that vote, and let's be honest, we're talking about Hispanic males here. Without them, Trump has nothing. That was there's so many different ways I could say, I could make the mathematical argument for voter suppression and suppressing the voter rolls. There's many ways in which Kamala Harris could have dragged this over the line, but without Hispanic males, bye-bye Donald Trump. Just Tracy, Girl Save, Family in Texas. I know. It's like, some of you have lost your GD minds, and it'll be fine. Just whenever you finally do get access to a lawyer or whatever, when you're in a cage in Alligator Alcatraz, don't contact me, because I tried with you and you guys said that I was going against God's will. Like, my family invoked the Lord when I told them not to vote for Trump. So this is what the Lord, as you told me, this is the Lord's will. You guys are conservatives. Just enjoy the ride. It's fine. You guys will be fine. What could ever go wrong?
Of his net approval rating, and now he's basically back where he was during his first term, which is quite a low approval rating, one in which has brought his overall approval rating down amongst the entire electorate.
And one thing that has been very clear is that as this crackdown has continued, it has put immigration enforcement, ICE, in a whole new spotlight across the country. What are the numbers on ICE now?
Yeah, what are the numbers on ICE? It's not just affecting Donald Trump, it's affecting ICE as well. ICE's net approval rating. In Trump's first term, the average was 0 points, right? So right there on the bottom, as many approve as disapprove. Look at where we are now in June of 2025. -17 points all the way down. So the bottom line is this immigration crackdown not being viewed popularly by the American public, bringing Donald Trump down and bringing immigration and custom enforcement down with him.
Thanks for continuing to track this, Harry. It's really interesting.
Again, that was just from a couple hours ago. That is today's data on how it's going. Hispanics are now likey. I mean, and that's not just Hispanics, but not these numbers, the zero, and that's just the America's view of ICE, but the middle numbers. That was without the Hispanic vote, which I said, if Trump would have just cherished the Hispanic vote, if he was truly smart enough, or if he wasn't courting so many racists and wasn't secretly racist inside, I would have just kept courting that vote. I never would have let it go. Trump could have consolidated so much more power if he hadn't promised the white nationalists so many things and wasn't secretly one himself. Man, he could have really taken this much farther. I mean, I guess it depends if he's ever leaving office. If he's never leaving office, doesn't matter what he's doing, right? But if there is going to be another free and fair election, I would say mathematically, I have no idea how he could win. Truly, I have no idea. But that's why I wanted to point out the stuff about Medicaid and SNAP cuts. All of that, they're planning on hitting after Medicaid work requirements and the actual cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, where they cut off the federal funding for states. That is not happening until after the midterms, to try to trick people into thinking everything's okay and to get to them to still vote. So tell your friends. Ave, thank you so much for the $50. We miss you. Thanks for today's receipts. I miss you guys as well. Truly, I can't express that enough. Just had to take care of my dad once I got back to Phoenix. He's doing well now, though. Still loves Trump, but doing well in all the ways. It's the sugar going. It's the A1C number. It's making him insane. If you would like to subscribe, by the way, in the bottom, I'm already forgetting how to do this, left-hand corner of your screen, that gold star. If you would like to subscribe, or, oh, I never pinned the gift goal. Thank you by the way, for whoever reminded me about the gift goal. Reminders are good in the chat because I have so many screens and things going on. Okay, did the gift goal. Yes, if you would like to subscribe, that gold yellow star in the bottom left-hand corner. Our subscriptions normally have around 500. This is my own fault for being not present on the internet for 2 weeks. But if you would like to subscribe or buy, yeehaw, thank you for the hats. Thanks, Jessica. If you would, oh my gosh, it's easier to tell who's gifting now. Awesome. Hi, Hi, Aunt Julie. Did you go to Vegas? Hope it was everything you hoped it would be, or has it not happened yet? I might be going to Vegas soon. Oh no. I am so sorry. Sorry. I have, I always talk about the Google alerts I've set. I don't know. I want to say, whenever news updates come, I always like to read the rulings, because the way these updates are worded is not always what the ruling is, right? It's just so people will click on it. But I'm just going to read the Google alert I just got. Trump administration live. Supreme Court clears way for dismantling of education department. MAGA, poor white people are about to get dumber. What could ever go wrong with that? While being robbed blind and going on lives publicly on the internet to debate and saying that you're winning, you've just ensured that your children's children will be crawling around in mines for the rest of their life. I'm just going to read, these are just the highlights of the Google alert. Again, I've not read the decision, and usually when you read them, I don't know if this is just kicking the can down the road or what. In a major victory for the Trump administration, the Supreme Court on Monday allowed it to fire thousands of education department employees, functionally eliminating the agency. The court's decision. Yeah, see, I knew it. See, I hate to be alarmist, because this is what the New York Times does. I don't want to say that they do this for clicks, but they just drug me into it. And that's why I don't always read these alerts. Yeah. While technically temporary, I cannot stand this. If I can give anyone any advice, when you get these updates, don't believe them until you read they're doing this so you'll freak out. Lets workers who had been reinstated during the legal battle be fired again. Yeah, this is always what it is. This is temporary. I want to see. It also comes after The order is technically temporary. Yeah, like this is what I'm saying. We got to get rid of for-profit media. Applying while appeals proceed. Yeah, while appeals proceed through the courts. In practice, yeah. So I'm sorry that I did that. I know better at this point. But when people start telling you that the Department of Education is gone, you can tell them, no, it's not. Sorry, I just saw it and I read it and I should I should know better by this point. It's time. It's time for you're like, why are we talking about Epstein again? I need to it'll all make sense soon. The largest divide I've ever seen in like the 4 years I've been watching the MAGA cult get lost in paper bags and try to individual paper bags. They're not in the same paper bag. Maybe if they were all in one paper bag, they could punch a hole in the side. Get out. They're all in their own individual paper bags. But what I see MAGA like finally starting to sound like the 2016 MAGA then they weren't MAGA, right? They were far right libertarians who were like, we like Bernie Sanders. That man's making sense mathematically. I always want to point it out. So what I want to do is show you what's been going on. I don't want to get I'm only going to play one of these videos because I'm sure one is going to get me some sort of violation. But just to refresh everyone's memory on Jeffrey Epstein, even though no one needs it.
Charges that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring in the early 2000s that included underage girls as young as 14 years old.
Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
He routinely spoke fawningly of Jeffrey. He admired Epstein's lifestyle.
Your daughter, she's beautiful. Can I say this? A piece of it.
Yeah. She's actually always been very voluptuous.
What does Tiffany have of Marlon's?
She's got Marlon's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of...
That's what those trademarks were for, and the $2 billion to Jared. That was Ivanka's like, hey, you want me to not say anything about what you've done to me, and then make it worth my while. Get paid, Ivanka. I actually feel really bad for what her life must have been. So you get yours, girl, even though it's disgusting and most likely illegal.
Would love some of that. It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I standing there with no...
Donald Trump is heard making questionable comments about a young girl.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
A lawsuit against the presumptive GOP nominee alleges he raped a girl when she was 13 years old.
Prince Andrew answering questions for the first time about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story.
Trump has been photographed with Prince Andrew as far back as the year 2000.
Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
you
sure.
are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
Ha 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 ha. It's all so funny. I know. Let's all just aggressively tap the screen. We should be at 250 or 300K. Let's tap the screen and also just point out, I recently got some great products on TikTok Shop. I do encourage everyone to buy a meaningless yet very useful product on TikTok Shop. Thanks, TikTok, for encouraging us all to continue in the mindless consumerism that we have all become addicted to try to distract ourselves from late stage capitalism. Okay. Oh, actually, I forgot. I put this in. This is something I think we can hear. I'm just reminding everyone of some things, right? This is just an interview Trump did. And I always try to highlight this. This is one of the rapid response accounts for the Democratic Party. I assume. I'm pretty sure it is. At Fact Post News, you don't have to go on X and ruin your mental health, but it's a great account to just keep up with like what's going on when you have to survive in capitalism and you don't have time. They posted this today.
Mr. President, the other day a reporter asked you about Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, quote, "I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
First of all, I don't know that, but I do know that
she has. She's been arrested for that.
Her
you know that.
friend or boyfriend,
Epstein,
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that?
Oh, so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
she's a child sex, alleged child sex trafficker.
Big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
We're going to get there, but let's just be clear that Epstein's brother is now speaking to people like Don Lemon and saying that he believes that this guy is the one responsible. We'll get there. You'll understand. MAGA is basically, actually, I don't know how many of these clips I should play, but I think if you want to know what's going on with the whole Jeffrey, I think we all get the point at this point. But I think what is important to take you on this journey we're about to go on of MAGA imploding and fist fighting each other for the last 6 days is to understand. So this is Friday. Caitlin Collins was reporting on this. Dan Bongino, who's I can't even say these words, the deputy director of the FBI, I believe, basically decided to not come to work in protest. If you know, Dan Bongino is a crazy person who believed every 6 months would goad his followers into believing the world was going to end. He's one of the most influential MAGA influencers. Right. And now he's the second in charge of the FBI under Kash Patel. Kash Patel is basically, these are people who spent hundreds of hours on podcasts convincing everyone that it was very important to get to the bottom of the Epstein files, getting Trump to half-heartedly promise to release them. And then this whole cover-up has happened, right? Trump's refusing, gaslighting everyone, telling everyone they don't exist. What are you talking about? Obama framed me or whatever's going on now. So Dan Bongino, in protest, doesn't come to work this last Friday.
All right, this breaking news. Sources tell CNN that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino has told people that he's considering resigning amid a major clash between the FBI and DOJ over the continued fallout from the release, or lack thereof, of the Jeffrey Epstein memo. Joining us right now on the phone is CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Fred, it remains to be seen if he actually follows through with what he has told colleagues. But what we do know is that Dan Bongino has told people he is considering resigning as the deputy director of the FBI over the fallout that has continued ever since this memo was released last Sunday. The anger inside the MAGA base has only continued to grow instead of going away, as some officials inside hoped it would. And now our colleagues, along with Christian Holmes, Tanner Rabinowitz, and Evan Perez, we're hearing that he's considering resigning after they had this heated confrontation with the Attorney General Pam Bondi over the handling of this earlier this week. And basically there was a meeting at the White House where the FBI Director, Kash Patel, was there, the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. They were questioned about whether they were part of a story that there was basically some infighting over how this came out, and this memo that said we're not going to be releasing any more information related to Jeffrey Epstein. And I should note that we are told Bongino denied leaking any story to this outlet that it was reported on. But there has been a lot of fighting between Attorney General Pam Bondi specifically and the leadership over at the FBI over who's to blame in this situation. I think the context here is obviously Dan Bongino, Kash Patel. They came from this MAGA world where they themselves had pushed a lot of questions about the so-called client list that Epstein had beforehand, and now the MAGA base is just not pleased or satisfied with what they've said in this memo that came out unsigned from the Justice Department and the FBI on Sunday night. So what we are told is Dan Bongino did not show up to work today, that he is essentially not there out of protest. But whether or not he actually follows through on this still remains to be seen. We're still reporting that out. But it just speaks to the backlash that the White House is feeling and understanding after this memo came out, despite President Trump the other day in the cabinet room asking, who still cares about this? One thing we know is the MAGA base certainly does.
All right, Caitlin Collins.
Exactly. And don't think, and I said this at the beginning of the live, which we've talked about many things in between, so you've probably forgot, but I said, I don't think about these aren't good people. Dan Bongino spreads lies after lies. He would make money off the fact he believes JFK Jr. was coming back, the world was this is the second in charge of the FBI, right? But he did make a lot of promises, which some of them I have on tape, and you'll see, about these files that now have never come out and aren't going to be released. I think we all know. I mean, don't worry, we'll get to that. But I just want to point out, he's no hero. No one in this story is a hero. But what is interesting is watching MAGA eat itself alive online. And oh, wait, I'm sorry. I don't want to replay this. Dan Bongino, essentially, in my opinion, right, they're trying to basically blame this on Pam Bondi. I just want to point out, if your brain works, which MAGA's doesn't, so they're just like, look, Dan Bongino's fighting for something that matters. No, none of this matters. Let me help you, MAGA, because none of your brains work. Donald Trump is the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief of the United States military, the holder of all the secrets, the stealer of all the documents, who kept them in his shitter, the guy who will commit any crime and gaslight and pretend like he didn't if it benefits him. He is the one that promised you these files, half-heartedly, in an edited Fox interview. He is the one that's denying you them. If you fire Pam Bondi, let's just play this out, because I love how I hate Pam Bondi. But that's because I actually can read and do math, and I know who Pam Bondi is. Pam Bondi is not just the swamp. Pam Bondi is a lawyer for lobbyists, not American lobbyists, Middle East Qatari lobbyists, right? This woman is the grossest person. So is the Ice Maiden, Susie Wiles, Trump's chief of staff. I mean, you're like, we're draining the swamp. These people are the mother effing swamp. That's what's really wrong with Pam Bondi. She's the swamp. But that's neither here nor there. I find it really hilarious that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who made so much money on podcasts talking about this, are now trying to blame her. Let's just say, if Trump takes the bait and is like, Pam Bondi, this is all Pam Bondi's fault, and MAGA be like, yeah, that blonde woman was up to something. Let me help you. If that's the line of logic you accept, your brain doesn't work. If Trump wanted the Epstein files to be released, they would be released. When Trump violates the Constitution on a whim, Trump is constructing and holding brown people in concentration camps and losing no sleep. If Trump wanted you to have what he promised you, you would have it. It has nothing to do with Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, period. They're just trying to deflect blame on each other while Trump is just waiting to see which one he's going to throw under the proverbial bus. Trump is the one who's lied to you. Trump is the one who promised you. Everything else, all this debate I've been reading, I've been fascinating to watch. It'd be like, oh, we need to get rid of Pam Bondi. If you think that it's her that's making these decisions, you are not smart. Now, let me help you with the difference. In the Biden administration, the AG was not in Trump's cabinet. The attorney general didn't work for Trump. Biden's AG was a Republican who didn't answer to him. He actually did more for Republicans and Trump than anyone else, right? It was separate. The argument, if you can read, which I know, MAGA, that just cancels all of you out. If you can read, that Trump has made is that the AG works for him. He will direct any and all investigations. He will decide what information is released. And now, for some reason, you guys are conveniently all forgetting that. If you get rid of Pam Bondi and install a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed man, still answers to Trump. It's all, the buck stops with the guy who keeps lying to you that none of you seem to have the spine to hold accountable. But, I mean, that's just saying, just pointing out that none of this has to do with actually any of these people. Now, I'm going to just say this now because I know everyone's going to be like, who's that? Again, I love Brian Baez. I actually have like 3 or 4 of his clips from X in here, but the same person he is on X, you can follow him on TikTok. Brian Baez at Mentally Divine. I just really love the way he puts information together, the way he researches it, the way it's entertaining. So I just want to show you I'll show you a couple of his clips throughout today. Again, it's at Mentally Divine, but if you just type Brian Baez, that too will show up. It will immediately populate. Like, this is not someone, wait, oh God. Hold on, let me find the video. Let me go get my video that's somewhere floating around outside this presentation. Is this it? Oh no, oh God, that's a whole nother topic we're going to have to get to tomorrow. I am so sorry for all the depressing information I'm going to have to unload on everyone in the next couple of days. It is unbelievable, the world we're living in. Where is my video? I know I recorded. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Found it. Okay.
Did anyone really think?
Oh, no. This is not. Sorry. That's a different. Hold on. Almost there. Just going backwards. Not that one. But that's another good one. Maybe I'm just gonna. Oh, sorry. This is how my brain looks. You guys can all see it now. Where is this clip? Sorry, it's on my phone. I'm going to text it to myself really quick. I think that's the fastest way to do this. Because this is important. I think he does a better job than, which shouldn't be a surprise. We can't count on for-profit media to really get anything correct anymore, and I don't. So that's why I rely on people like Brian Baez, because I feel like they're getting more facts correct and doing more research than for-profit media is willing to at this point. Oh, here. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I'm just going to pull this up really quick in the actual presentation. You can see my brain in words, too. Almost there. Just give me a couple more seconds. Here we go. Yep. This is it. Sorry, I hate pulling up live videos because it sometimes lags, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Man with a 12 head and FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino is about to resign because of the cover-up of the Epstein files. Let me take you back for a second. Dan Bongino was a podcast bro and a Fox News show host, which, by the way, makes complete sense why he's working in the Trump administration. On his fuck-ass podcast, he consistently peddled misinformation and pro-MAGA bullshit, but he also talked a lot about the Epstein conspiracy theory. And on his podcast in 2023, he told his listeners, listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. keep your eye on this. And he also questioned, what the hell are they hiding with Jeffrey Epstein? Fast forward to today, he's now the FBI deputy director. Elon Musk brings this whole fucking shitstorm to the mainstream media by saying that Donald Trump himself are in the Epstein files. Attorney General Pam Bondi goes on Fox News and says that the client list is sitting on her desk in order for her to review it before she declassifies it, and then walks it back and reneges and says that there's no client list, after Elon Musk says Donald Trump was on it himself. Donald Trump then himself is in a cabinet meeting in front of the press. The press asks Attorney General Pam Bondi about the Epstein files. She's getting ready to answer. Donald Trump cuts in and says, stop fucking talking about the Epstein files. Let's fucking move on and talk about everything else. MAGA then gets mad as fuck because they say we've been played because, again, they were the biggest conspiracy theorists about the fucking Jeffrey Epstein files. And not only that, again, they were the ones who said that Donald Trump was anointed by God to become the president of the United States in order to protect children. And now they see him as part of the fucking cover-up because he's telling his supporters to move the fuck on. Not to mention, motherfuckers can't move.
Wait, what the just happened? Is that part of the video? That is not me.
Motherfuckers can't move on because the DOJ released a video of the Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell. The only problem was, even though it was 10 hours worth of surveillance footage, there's 1 minute that's missing. Not only is that 1 minute missing, but Wired just reported that metadata shows that FBI's raw Jeffrey Epstein prison video was likely modified and edited. And now FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino is considering resigning over the Justice Department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. The question is, when you do resign, are you going to fucking tell it all?
What separates our game from the game?
It's my algorithm.
Man with
again, I'm trying to think of what I want to say right now. Of course, he's not going to tell it all because Trump will ruin him. But yeah, and if you're like, what about this is all true, right? You can do your own research. Again, I pinned it there. Wait, what is happening here? Sorry. Joby, thank you so much for the subs. We're at 325 of our 360 sub goal. If you got a sub from Joby, he just bought 10 giveaway subs for the month. If you got a sub, W Joby in the chat, thank you so much. You're amazing and you're the best. And I'm sorry, I feel like I haven't seen you in a month. I know it's only been like 2 weeks, but it feels like a year. Thank you so much for all the support. Did anyone hear the beginning though? Can I just play that again?
12 head and FBI deputy
12 head, as opposed to forehead. He's putting his hand up against the guy's head.
Man with a 12 head and FBI deputy director Dan Bongino.
Just for, this will all be the reason I do this show is because this will just, for posterity, it will always be on the internet. It's important that history remembers Dan Bongino correctly. I do have a history degree. Let's get it right. just saying. That's why I love, it's like Brian Baez always with the research, always with the facts, but also, like the editorial pieces that are truly necessary to making sure we all remember this correctly for posterity. And I just want to remind MAGA, history will remember none of you well. I just want to be very clear that if you can do math and start reading, you are very much on the wrong side of history and you will be humiliated for all time beyond the grave. I don't think anyone truly realizes their purpose in life, but what I know is some of us are on the right side of history. And in hundreds of years, the way we all, when we were kids, learned about the, Holocaust and we're like, how could anything like that happen? We're all learning now. We're all learning. And the apathy and idiocy of the right, now we get it. Like, we were all confused how something so horrific could happen on anyone's watch. Well, thank you, MAGA, for letting us all experience it in real time. And the only thing I know, which I don't know much, because the more you learn, the more information and data you take in, the more you're very unsure of it if you know anything. The smartest people I know will say, I don't know anything. And the only thing I do know is that you will be remembered badly throughout time. And I will go to my grave Like, at the last moment I'm alive, I'll think, at least I'll be remembered as someone who fought for what is right. I didn't cower to power. I did not want to rhyme. I was trying to think of another word. Okay. So now that we've got through that, I think hopefully there's no other missing videos from my presentation. So I'm just going back to it. And okay. So here's where we're going to now. So starting on Friday night, which is where we're going to start, there was a Turning Point USA conference in Tampa, Florida. Like, Charlie Kirk, he's from Arizona. He's from Phoenix, where I am. And like, they do these crazy conferences where all the crazy MAGA podcasters and for-profit media people and politicians gather and talk about stuff. And the topic was really derailed, right? They just kept talking about Jeffrey Epstein, but about a lot of things. So I just want to preface that. I'm going to just show you the general mood because I think it's funny, really important. Thanks, Chelsea, for upgrading to Super Sporter. I think it's important to just get this all right? Like, what happened? Why is MAGA fighting like they are now? And why does no one trust Trump? This is why. And by the way, if you don't know who Michael Knowles is, he is a special type of bigot. He works for what? Oh my God, Daily Wire. I was like, not Daily Mail. That's wrong. But I mean, I'm just showing you like one of the first clips I saw of this conference. This is less about Jeffrey Epstein. I just want to show you what these people talk about at these conferences.
Now, speaking of the LGBT, it is not just the T that is fading from the public square. After decades of nonstop lavender propaganda, pride parades are getting canceled for lack of attendance, lack of interest. JoJo Siwa is no longer a lesbian.
I can't stand this man. This man is the biggest bigot. And I don't know. This is just my theory as someone who's queer. I think he is, I don't know. He's very much overcompensating. I've never seen someone have a problem with something that has nothing to do with someone in my life like this man does. And by the way, just to be clear, JoJo Siwa identifies as gender queer, like very similar to what I am, right? Like, let me just explain, because like, you know, I'm very attracted to men, women. I refer to myself most often as a sapiosexual, which you're like, what the F is that? I just am attracted to people's brains. Like, the last thing I care about, like when I hear conservatives talk, they're always like, what kind of genitals does that person have? Right? I never think about that. Like, that's the last thing I think about, because that's the last thing I really need to know. I'm like, what does this person think? What do they feel? Who are they? Like, am I attracted to them? You know what I mean? It's everything but like, what kind of genitals do they have? It's the opposite of how MAGA operates. Let me put it that way. And then, like, I probably, as one of the lesbians told me at Pride when I was working for the Kamala Harris campaign, I'm a soft femme switch, right? Like, I can be dominant or submissive, but outside of the bedroom, like, I'm very nurturing and empathetic to my partner. That's where the soft comes in. Femme is like lipstick lesbian. Yeah, I'm just giving you ideas of how all of this works and how misunderstood it is at places like this. JoJo Siwa very much dated several girls and then decided, oh, but also I can date men. I'm gender queer, right? So probably most likely pansexual, which is probably how I identify, right? Like, it transcends gender. It's more about who someone is. And this creep is now standing there saying this stuff about her. By the way, she's basically like a child. Like, it's disgusting. If you don't know who JoJo Siwa is, she was on Dance Moms, like, and now she has, I don't know if it's like 100 million. She has a lot of followers online.
Nature is healing. That's great.
Nature is healing. Like, because young blonde-haired blue-eyed girl is like discovering her sexuality and you're making a joke about it. You need to heal, sir. Like, It's not JoJo that's confused. Like, let me just point to the confused person in all of this. It's that man. Like, I cannot. Okay, so again, now this is Charlie Kirk, who runs Turning Point USA. I just want to give you an idea of what was going on before we get into more of the Epstein stuff.
And another thing that this generation increasingly believes, they don't necessarily believe that immigration makes your country better. You only get Mamdani, you get Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib not just because of illegal immigration. It's legal immigration that is also the problem.
I just want to be clear. He is now talking about people who sit in Congress, who are citizens of the United States, who happen to be brown, and saying they have no right to be here. And let me just tell you, because I don't like to get in my emotions or be like, hey, like this is what America was built on. Mathematically, none of this is correct, right? Mathematically, the reason we have the number one gross domestic product in the world is only because of immigration. Like, this is not correct, especially now, like right now. We are in population decline, and you're saying we don't, not just able-bodied laborers, but like the students that come to American universities who are overachievers from different countries who drive immigration or drive innovation, who create patents, who drive like invention, discovery, medicine, all of these things. These people are not Americans. They weren't born here, not the majority of them. And again, I just wanted to say that none of this is mathematically nor factually correct. I just think when I saw this clip, this is Charlie Kirk taking off his mask and being like, hey, I'm an uneducated white nationalist. Like, let me just show you who I really am for 30 seconds.
And another thing that this generation increasingly believes, they don't necessarily believe that immigration makes your country better. You only get Mamdani, you get Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib not just because of illegal immigration. It's legal immigration problem. When you allow a bunch of people into your country legally, share your values, turns out they don't always assimilate. Mamdani and his entire family came here legally. They didn't come across the southern border. No one can tell me that that person is improving the United States of America. He's a self-righteous, narcissistic parasite on New York City and should be expelled from politics. But
just say something and just understand this. I was raised by a malignant narcissist who I actually find to be like almost like a cute puppy. That's like my plaything now. But when I was raised by her, I was like, man, there is a really intelligent monster who's going to kill me. Like, and I need to be very scared of her. Like, you can project whatever you want on Mamdani if you can read and if you can do math. None of those things are true. It might be a confession from you. I don't know who you're talking about other than yourself. That's like, read Freud's interpretation of dreams. That is, the projection is unreal from Charlie. Are you talking about you? Because you could not factually be talking about Mamdani. That's not true. He spent his life in service to other people. He's a citizen of America, as is all of his family members. This is Charlie Kirk's like insecure, like. And I just want to say this. I hear you, white males. Like, you feel like you're losing your piece of the pie, right? Like, I can, like, your insecurity, it's not mathematically true. Like, you're still reigning supreme. And I keep saying this, like, it's statistical analysis. The way we determine who is being disproportionately discriminated against in America, it's statistical analysis. It's math. And when that actually becomes you, yeah, I'll fight for you to not lose your rights just as hard as you didn't fight for me to lose mine. Let me just say it that way. As hard as you did not give about my rights and my bodily autonomy, I will fight for you. Because I think that it will be, just as much as you were apathetic and didn't give a shit about anyone but yourselves. But now, like, what we are experiencing in America, and I want everyone to understand this, is white male insecurity and fear. It's not like mathematically, their fears are not true, but they believe they're some sort of endangered species. Is this mathematically true? No. But what we are experiencing is deep-seated insecurity and fear, right? And they're like, before it happens, we need to do something. We need to clamp down on power now. We need to claw it all back. Like, there's too many brown people. There's too many women who are making sense. We got to do something about it. Like, it's unbelievable to what, like, the insecurity. So I'm not saying, I think we should be very concerned, and we should probably, I don't know if fear is the right word, but like also just recognize how insecure white men are. Like, what the are you guys doing? Like, imagine never having anything, white males, never having any power, always being a minority, always having nothing, always having to prove that your brain did work despite the fact you were a woman, or despite the fact, like, I guess it just comes from recognizing you have something to lose. Some of us never had anything to lose in the first place, which I will say, it is the best way to live. My favorite way to live is to have nothing to lose, because nobody can leverage you. And like, when you have, exactly, thank you, Kirsten, we can smell the insecurity. It's wafting through the air, through the northern jet stream in America. Like, you guys are terrified of losing something. You are not even losing. You're winning more than ever. And you guys are still terrified. What the is going on? Like, it's fascinating to watch. And I mean this though. I understand fear and insecurity. I think everybody is plagued with fear and insecurity and racing thoughts, right? Like, I get that. But when you take that fear and insecurity and your racing thoughts and fear about what may happen, anxiety, and then you turn that into oppression of other groups of people, because you deep down inside know you're not good enough, not fast enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, that's when we all are going to have a problem with you.
Let him in. Maybe it's time. Maybe it is time for us to reconsider almost all of our political orthodoxies. Do immigrants really make our country better? Some do. Some of our amazing Cuban immigrants here that I see in the audience, you've assimilated, you make America better. But if you come from Somalia and you refuse to learn our language, adopt to our...
Can I just say, you can't function in America if you don't learn English. So what are you talking about?
Customs and assimilate? I'm sorry, America is closed to the third world until further notice. We are not a dumping ground for the...
Cuba is the third world. This is like, Charlie Kirk is so dumb. And I'm just going to help you, MAGA. If you believe that Charlie Kirk's brain works, then your brain does not work. If you're thinking, oh, Charlie Kirk, if you're like, oh, he just talks fast and never breathes, so he's right. No, Charlie Kirk's not right. The third world are people who didn't take sides during World War II. And then we started stealing the minerals and like out from under their feet, right? And devaluing their currency. Like, you don't even know what the third world is. Cuba is the third world by definition. Like, the delusion is not lost on me.
Rest of the planet.
Just want to show you, this is what is going on at this conference. So then, here comes Laura Ingraham getting involved, which is like, God help us all.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
Again, MAGA can't follow instructions, Laura. So, and here's my least favorite person ever. Like, the most bitter blonde woman that was dethroned because she, flew too close to the sun, which is the lesson. It doesn't matter how blonde you are, how beautiful you are. If you are a woman trying to exist in conservative politics, this is why I always say when I'm debating, I don't want to fight women. I don't want to debate women because you're already going to be eaten alive on the right. You don't need me to embarrass you publicly. Like, that's always going to come for you. Like, anyways, you're going to be eaten alive just by the simple fact you are a woman and no one respects you. Thanks, Scott, for the $5 on Cash App. I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you for helping me pay for my dad's doctor's appointments. But this is like Megyn Kelly, bitter weirdo, having a conversation with Charlie Kirk.
No, we all have busy lives, and President Trump has a busy life, and I don't think he realizes how much she's humiliated the administration. This is a self-inflicted wound. She caused it. Again, I have nothing against Pam Bondi, but if you want to look for the villain in this story, we have found her. She is the person she's either lying now or she was lying then. There's no two ways about it. And if you accept, no, we all have busy lives.
Here's my issue. Megyn Kelly, and I'm saying now that I tell you this, and either you've already noticed it on your own, she's always attacking other women on the right. I don't even attack conservatives women on TikTok. Why are you trying to shit on other women? Let me help you, Megyn Kelly, which I think your brain works. So you must already know this, right? They can't say the truth. Trump doesn't want those files released. So she's now just saying, let me go after another blonde woman who has more power than me on the conservative side and try to make her a scapegoat. And by doing so, maybe Trump will recognize I'm not correctly identifying him as the person that's actually making all these decisions. Again, if Pam Bondi is gotten rid of, the next AG, if it's a man, still won't release the Epstein files because the only person that could do that is Donald Trump. So sitting here and being like, oh, let's all blame this on Pam Bondi so MAGA can be like, yeah, that woman's up to something. And the fact this woman who's had this done to her is now part of this is fascinating to me. Like, don't never turn your back on Megyn Kelly. She's a special type of horrible.
Yes, 100%. You think about, like you mentioned, Jeanine Pirro would take no prisoners. She's totally confirmable too. She'd be great in this role. Like, it's not like there's no bench behind Pam.
She's not confirmed. What? Jeanine, just to be clear, box of wine, Jeanine Pirro. Yeah, she takes no prisoners if we're talking about a box of wine. I don't know what you're talking about otherwise. She's suggesting box of wine, Fox 5, Jeanine Pirro replace Pam Bondi as the Attorney General of the United States. Why? Because she's uglier and you feel less threatened by her? Like, Megyn Kelly is something else. Like, we are now in crazy town.
Bondi. Like, there is a bench. Jeanine could do it. Harmeet could do it. Even Matt Gaetz can't do it. He could do it, but
he's not confirmable.
Yeah, he's not confirmable.
Matt Gaetz for a special prosecutor, that would be very interesting.
That would be.
Oh, let me just explain the hypocrisy you just heard. These people are upset and trying to burn Pam Bondi at the stake for not releasing the Epstein files because MAGA's deep in pretending they care about children. Matt Gaetz had his congressional investigation released. We know for a fact he was trafficking children. And these two who are saying or trying to use Pam Bondi as a scapegoat to say Trump is not protected, Pam Bondi's not protecting children, are saying, oh, let's install an actual known child trafficker as a prosecutor for the DOJ. Like, if you don't get this, MAGA, and I'm MAGA, I know you don't because you can't get there on your own, so I'm going to help you. This is all a sham. None of you are protecting children. I know that because of math. You're taking food out of children's mouths. You're taking Head Start. You're taking their access to pre-K, which we know limits the lifetime earnings of children. You're taking education from them. You're making it harder to protect children. The only time you suddenly care about S traffickers is this random Epstein stuff, while still cheering on. This is someone from the audience saying, oh, let's install Matt Gaetz, another child S trafficker alleged, who was investigated in a congressional investigation. And that's how I know MAGA doesn't read. That's all out there. You can read. And they're like, we're so mad about child S trafficking, and I would like to nominate from the audience the other alleged child S trafficker to head up the child S trafficking investigation. And again, the only person who can release those files and who everyone's lying from is the guy that says men shouldn't wear makeup and has makeup on every day. That's Donald Trump, also Matt Gaetz. But you know what I'm saying. You tell me how any of this makes sense. MAGA, if anyone wants to request it, explain to me how this is not all a hypocritical mess, I will allow it. If anyone wants to explain how this makes sense, that you're like, yeah.